In 1996, Cuban tourism brought in $1.4 billion.
Cha-cha-cha, very good cha-cha-cha.
Here, Cubans can buy anything from simple musical instruments to Tiffany-style lamps.
The first stations were planned by Stalin.
Sylvan Rodriguez, a man of valor. Valor in his profession, valor in his community, and valor in his life. For 30 years, journalism has been Sylvan's life. He started writing for several newspapers and the wire service while he was still in college. He was a reporter, a photographer, and assignments editor for KENS TV in his hometown of San Antonio. Then he moved to Houston as a reporter and anchor for KTRK TV Channel 13 in 1977. For the past 12 years, Sylvan has worked as an anchor for KHOU Channel 11. His work has taken him as far away as Russia in 1991, reporting on political change and unrest. More recently, Sylvan's trip to Cuba brought him to another land filled with turmoil. His coverage of Pope John Paul II gave a whole new perspective of how this change has given many Cubans hope. And as far as he's traveled, Sylvan has also been as close as Channel 11's kitchen. Now you'll have to ask him yourself where he sampled the best food. Journalism experts and his peers have called Sylvan the best many times. And his career is studded with awards for his on-air skills. He is celebrated especially for his reporting on politics and space. ABC offered him a job as a network correspondent after his coverage of the Challenger explosion. Sylvan has interviewed 4 presidents, including Presidents Reagan and Bush. And while a reporter often plays the role of adversary, Sylvan managed to make friends with many of his interview subjects.
Well, let me just reflect the feeling that the Bush family has for Sylvan Rodriguez. First place, we go back a long, long way. Sylvan has covered politics and news events in Houston for many years, and he has covered the things that I've tried to do for many, many years. First, professionally, I've always found him fair. He can ask tough questions in a penetrating way. You never think that there's going to be a sharp breaking curve that distorts what one says. And I've always respected his integrity as a professional in the media business. There are few like him. He's strong, he's sensitive, and he's very, very professional. Then on the personal side, and sometimes I guess it's dangerous to cross the lines between professional and personal if you've been in public life, but we've always had a warm feeling in our hearts for Sylvan Rodriguez. Barbara and I, well, he'll probably blush if I say this, but we feel like he's one of our sons. We know him well, we respect him, and we love him. Sylvan, while pursuing his career, always found time to help other people. He is a bright point of light, and there's no charity that he's not willing to help. There's no cause that he's not willing to identify with. He has his own favorites, of course, but the guy has reached out and helped the lives of many, many Houstonians, taking that position of prominence and prestige that he has, but using it to benefit others. I keep saying this, and I'll say it again. There can be no definition of a successful life that does not include service to others. And Sylvan serves others. We wish him well.
I can't tell you how proud I am to be considered a friend of Sylvan's. We've known each other for a long time, and I guess he looked at me as one of his quote, space heroes when he got to Houston, and I looked at him because he was a celebrity on television. Got to know Sylvan and got to like him very much, I guess, through his coverage of the space program and other events. But the thing I found most striking about Sylvan is the fact that he cared for other people, particularly young people, and he wouldn't call me up and say, Gene, I've got a thing for these young kids. Can you be there? Can you sign this? Gene, we've got a charity golf tournament for these poor kids. Can you play golf? Can you spend some time with it always struck me as I got a call from Sylvan. It wasn't like he was putting the arm on me, but he had a way of telling you he believed in something very strongly. And it was contagious because you found yourself believing it as well. And that's why I believe so strongly in my friendship with Sylvan Rodriguez.
Some of my favorite memories of Sylvan are not from the workplace, but from our friendship. We would often have family dinners together. We'd play tennis, and on at least 2 occasions we went fishing. One was quite memorable, at least for Sylvan. One early morning, we were tied up to a stump on Lake McQueeney. I had bought a 10-foot aluminum boat a few days before and had not put any registration numbers on the front. As Sylvan and I were fishing, a game warden sped by, only to slow down and turn in our direction. I told Sylvan that I was in trouble because of the lack of numbers on the boat. The warden pulled alongside, threw his leg over into our boat to anchor his boat to ours, and immediately recognized Sylvan and started a friendly chat. He asked the usual questions that we get from the public about working on TV and then said, "Well, I noticed you don't have any numbers on this boat, but I'm not going to write you up this time. Just show me your fishing license and I'll be on my way." I showed him mine, but Sylvan didn't have a license. So the warden gave him a ticket and Sylvan had to pay a fine, all because I had no numbers on my boat. Sylvan, I hope you've forgiven me by now, but I know you'll never fail to buy a fishing license. Good luck and God bless you.
How do you talk about somebody for whom you have the utmost respect? Where do you start? Maybe you start by using the word professional. That's it, professional. The best there is at what he does. When Sylvan came to 11, I knew him by reputation only from his years over at Channel 13. In the years we have worked together, we have shared many big stories and we have told each other many little fishing lies. And I would like to think that each of us has made the other a little better maybe at what he does, both at work and out there on the bay. Now, I know Sylvan is someone who desperately cares about his craft, about his profession, but still has time to give a great deal of himself to his family and to his community. I have worked with a lot of very good people during my 30-plus years in Houston television. None better, none more dedicated than Sylvan Rodriguez. And I consider myself honored to be included among his colleagues and I hope among his friends. Sylvan, the Specs are eating everything they're throwing at him these days. Let's go after them. We're all pulling for you, my friend.
Yeah, I remember Sylvan Rodriguez. Whatever happened to him? Hi, Sylvan. How are you doing? Yeah, Sylvan and I were office mates. We shared a small office here at Channel 13 Eyewitness News for quite a while, and as you can see, Sylvan, I'm still a pack rat. I haven't thrown anything away. Sylvan, we had one television monitor in our office, and Sylvan always controlled what channel we were watching. Sylvan, you'll be glad to know that I'm sharing an office with 4 other people, and I don't ever get to touch the TV again here either. We really miss you over here, Sylvan. I wish you the best and hope the world for you, and give me a call sometime.
I've known Sylvan since I first got started in this business, and I say that because at the time he was here at Channel 13 and was one of the first people to come up and offer to help me out. He was always available when I needed somebody to look over my script or give me some suggestions about stand-ups and the like. And he has always been that way. Even when he left us and went over across the street, he was the consummate competitor, certainly the consummate professional, but he also remains, to this day, the consummate gentleman. He just has the biggest heart I can imagine, which is why you won't find a single person in this city who has ever competed against him who has a bad word to say about him. He's just one heck of a terrific guy.
Hi everyone, I'm glad I could take part in this tribute to Sylvan. I'm very honored to be asked. You know, I'm sure you'll hear many others talk about what a wonderful guy he is and how much of a difference he's made. I'm going to leave that to people who are more eloquent than I. What I'm going to do is give you the scoop. Working so closely with Sylvan, or Slick as I refer to him on a day-to-day basis, I have some great inside stories. For instance, any Young and the Restless fans out there? Okay, don't be shy. Really, there is nothing wrong with being a soap opera fan, because Sylvan is. I'm serious. YNR comes on right before 11 News at noon, and Sylvan is hooked. And to prove it, you need to ask him to do his Victor Newman imitation. YNR fans know who he is, but if you don't watch YNR, he's the patriarch of the show. Sylvan is a dead-on imitation, so ask him. Computers, forget it. Sylvan is usually in a fight with his, and since my office just happens to be next to his office, I'm often called in to mediate. Hope he's been taking this time off from work to hit the books and learn about this Windows thing, or else I'm going to have to start charging a consulting fee, Slick. Okay, enough of that. I am pleased and very proud to work beside Sylvan. who has helped me get my feet wet in this bayou city. He has been, to borrow a cliche, a fountain of information about Houston, Texas, and the news biz. Hurry back, Slick. The office next door is too quiet without you.
I knew about Sylvan Rodriguez long before I ever got to work with him, but in 1980, when I joined ABC 13, it sort of became natural that Sylvan and I were paired on many stories because our backgrounds were very similar. We'd come from Austin and San Antonio and the University of Texas, so we both love politics too. And Sylvan covers politics. I cover politics. Sylvan, in my experience, got the better end of the deal because he got the Republicans and President Bush, and I covered the Democrats, who lost a lot back in those early years. Sylvan covering space, he'd be at Cape Canaveral, I would be at the Johnson Space Center. We had lots of memories going back in those early years of the 80s when he was here at Channel 13 as well. And I think that's what makes him so special. He has this ability to be honest, to be genuine, and I think that's why the public loves him so much, because he's theirs and they can identify with him. And they feel like maybe he's returning some of the love they send his way.
It's no secret to the people who know me that my hero and role model is Dan Rather. He's the guy who inspired me to pursue a career as a television reporter. But on the local level, I also look to guys like you and Bill Balleza. From my perspective in college, it was great to see you anchoring, Sylvan. To see you succeeding where few Hispanics had ever been before. It was a source of pride, and at the same time gave me hope that one day I could also follow in that path. Over the years, news people have discussed what makes an anchorman great. It in some way boils down to be incredible and trustworthy in delivering the news. Newscasters also have to bond with the viewers, and Sylvan, you've been a master at that. That's why this tribute to you is so appropriate. For me personally, I had a sense of family watching you, sort of like watching a smarter older brother that you can look up to. Sylvan, you also bring to mind the legendary actor Jimmy Stewart, because like Stewart, Sylvan, you have the talent to project your all-American average guy who yet manages to rise to the occasion no matter how challenging. And people love that. People love to cheer for the good guy, the hero. And Sylvan, that's you.
Families can tell you when you're doing something right, and families can tell you, can be very honest when you're doing something wrong. Sylvan and I have that kind of relationship. He will sit down and be my counselor during some very difficult times. There has not been a time in my career that I have not made a decision without going to Sylvan. At the same time, though, I'm the little guardian angel that sometimes sits on his shoulders at various functions, various parties, and will whisper in his ear, that is so-and-so. And there have been times that I pull rank on him and I become the big sister and say, I didn't like that, or I don't think you should do that. And we compliment one another. You know, family members, you love them, and sometimes you don't like them, but they're always there for you. And Sylvan has always been there for me, and I certainly hope he feels the same way.
Over the years, Sylvan has helped many community and professional organizations. He has selflessly given of his time to countless service and nonprofit groups, lending his celebrity and his skills as an MC to help them gain notoriety and to earn money for their causes.
You know, there was this core group of news people who organized the local chapter of the National Association of Hispanic Journalists, and a key member of that group was Sylvan. You know how it is when a bunch of smart Hispanics, and that's all of us, get together? Nobody can agree on anything, everybody has an opinion, and everybody wants to be heard. But we all agreed on one thing, and it was Sylvan who kept us on track. And that one thing was education for our Hispanic kids. An education that would assure success in the field of communications. An education that would increase the number of Hispanics in news. I don't know, maybe it's coming from South Texas. Those of us like Sylvan who came from there know that the way out of the barrio and then to give back to it and make it a better place is education. And that quite simply is Sylvan's vision.
Sylvan is a longtime member of the National Association of Hispanic Journalists. He has served as broadcast panel expert on many of our national conventions. He also serves as the Space Center board member, and I asked him as NAHJ coordinator for our year 2000 conference in Houston if he could possibly set that up as a venue for us for our national conference. Sure, no problem, he said with his usual enthusiasm, and set up a VIP tour for us. Sylvan has been a role model, mentor, and friend to many of us. Sylvan, our love and support are with you always.
There's so many things to say about Sylvan that especially reflect his generosity of spirit and his enthusiasm for every undertaking. He is a joy and a very unusual, because with Sylvan, what you see is what you get. I feel especially fond, I think, because Sylvan and Shelley met at a Tourette event that Shelley chaired about 6 or 7 years ago. And ever since that moment, Sylvan has really embraced our organization wholeheartedly.
Not too long ago, something amazing happened. A bunch of Sylvan's television buddies got together at a party designed to let him know how much they loved him. Well, it was an incredible party, brought about by an incredible man. People who compete against each other day in and day out, who might assemble to celebrate something with co-workers at their own stations or perhaps participate in some community event, turned out by the dozens to see Sylvan, to touch him, and to let him know how he had touched them. Everyone there said they had never seen so many competitors in the same room at the same time, united behind one thing: their desire to let Sylvan and Shelley know they care. Sylvan's family from San Antonio came in to make the celebration complete. And while his family members were meeting some of Sylvan's friends for the first time, they felt the warmth of those friendships, full of long histories and cherished moments. As you can see, Sylvan has created this groundswell of goodwill. It is almost palpable. Everywhere we go, we hear how strong he is, how revered, how brave, how tenacious. Well, Sylvan truly is an inspiration, an example, a positive force. He has accomplished so much in his life, but what he is accomplishing now will set off good vibrations for generations. We all hope to take comfort in that, in our love for Sylvan, our colleague, our good friend.
It has been 20 years here in our hometown of Houston, Texas. You, the viewer, have been kind enough to allow me into your homes to deliver the news. It has been 2 decades filled with incredible adventure and unbelievable opportunity. From seeing the first space shuttle land right down the center stripe when scientists weren't even sure if the heat tiles would stay in place, to visiting Cuba as the last dictator met with the freedom crusading Pope. Along the way, I've met some of the brightest minds, some of the warmest and kindest people. I am now about to tackle a new assignment. It will be the toughest assignment of my life, a battle with cancer. That word cancer has a way of evoking only bad connotations. It's one of those words in the English language that just seems to get caught up in the throat. I know you or someone you love has, in all likelihood, had to deal with this unholy disease. Well, now it's my turn. I have a rare form of cancer called neuroendocrine islet cell carcinoma. It is a mouthful. It is a cancer of the pancreas, which is now metastasized to the liver. The good news is that doctors say it often responds to treatment. This reporter will be away for 2 months on this new assignment. Already the love, the support, the prayers have been overwhelming. I feel I'm going into this new challenge well equipped, this time not with paper, notepads, background, typewriters, or computers, but with faith and support from a community that has always been there. See you in a couple of months.